the San Francisco 49ers might just have the most interesting quarterback situation that we've seen in a long, long time. I mean, the NFL is no stranger to quarterback battles. We've seen with the 49ers, Montana versus Young. We've seen Breeze versus Phillip Rivers with the Chargers. And we've even seen some interesting battles like Tim Tebow versus Kyle Orton. But usually these battles occur between a veteran starter who has prestige within the league and has shown success, but has also begun to show some cracks in their game. And they have to go against a now younger quarterback who has either been drafted by said team or they've been signed out of free agency, who has flashier tools and can lead more of a youth movement within the backfield of that team, which usually is just more exciting. It's more interesting for fans, and it leads to a lot more promise within the organization. Now, just 1 year ago, the 49ers were in the same situation as a lot of these other teams were. They had Jimmy Garoppolo, who was a veteran quarterback for them, who had just recently in 2020 led the 49ers to a Super Bowl. But they used 3 first-round picks to trade up for Trey Lance at number 3 overall out of North Dakota State. And Lance, coming out of college, was a very raw quarterback. But they gave him a year to sit, and then last year, over the offseason, Trey Lance eventually won the battle, and he got the starting job to start off the season. But now, the 49ers are in the same exact spot with a new face. Mr. Irrelevant Brock Purdy, who we all know, last pick of the draft. I don't know how many times that they're going to say that on broadcast. He bursts onto the scene after injuries take out Garoppolo and Lance, and he wins 7 of his 8 starts, which, if you don't count the NFC Championship game where he literally tore his UCL, he basically won all 7 of the games that he started and finished, which is really impressive. That's probably one of the most impressive introductions for rookie quarterbacks since like Dak Prescott. He looked really comfortable at quarterback and in the system until, of course, he tore his UCL. Now, this leaves the 49ers with this really interesting dilemma, and a really big dilemma because they're a contending team, where you've got 2 quarterbacks who have their own cases to start and they have their own cases to, be the quarterback of the future. And it's not like you can just look and say, well, this quarterback's got so much time till we can replace him with this quarterback, because they're both really young. They're both in their early 20s. So today, I just want to look at how the 49ers got here, what they can get from either option, and try and discuss where I think they should go for their future, because this is just such a compelling situation. And I think there's a lot of teams that would love to be in this spot, and there's also a lot of risk with this. Now, coming out of North Dakota State, Trey Lance was a definite gamble at number 3. In 2019, Trey Lance was phenomenal. His redshirt freshman year, he showcased an uncanny ability to read defenses both in the pre and the post snap, along with just a outstanding set of physical tools. Lance finished the season with no interceptions and led North Dakota State to an FCS national championship. However, thanks to COVID-19, of course, the whole pandemic, North Dakota State played just 1 game in 2020, and Lance, he struggled. It clearly was not the 2019 Lance that we'd seen, and that kind of put his future in question, whether or not he was actually as good as we'd seen in that 2019 season. But the 49ers clearly did not care, and they said, we're going to go after this guy. This is our quarterback of the future, and they picked him at number 3. Now, entering the league, Lance was expected to take the 49ers offense to a level we had not seen yet. They had not had a quarterback of this talent arguably since Steve Young. But in Lance's 2 years in the league, he's only appeared in 8 total games, throwing for just 800 yards and 5 touchdowns with 3 interceptions. Lance's last season was cut short after just 2 games due to an ankle injury, which took him out of the season and eventually led for Brock Purdy to take over after Garoppolo went down. Now, for Brock Purdy coming out of college, it's almost the polar opposite story. Trey Lance coming out was a one-year starter, whereas Brock Purdy had 4 years as a starter for Iowa State. Brock Purdy led one of the most efficient offenses in the country throughout the 4 years. At one point, he was touted as a first overall pick, but Purdy could just never make that leap in consistency that you need from a first round quarterback. And his physical tools really just turned scouts off. But Purdy was really good at reading defenses. He had really good ball placement and accuracy, and he was really good under pressure at Iowa State. Purdy was exceptional for the 49ers. Uh, Kind of opposite to Lance, he really just took the reins right away. He started his career off with an impressive win over Miami, a really formidable team, after having to come in on to replace an injured Jimmy Garoppolo. Now Purdy went 8-1 in his 9 game stint, including the one game he had to come in midway through, and the one game he had to leave midway through, um, thanks to a UCL tear in the NFC Championship game. He passed for 1,854 yards. He had 16 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. His 111.4 passer rating is one of the best through 8 games ever by a rookie. In fact, if he had continued this pace, it would have been one of the most efficient seasons ever recorded by a rookie quarterback. Clearly, Purdy has something as a starting quarterback. He's proven himself now that he can play at a really heightened level. But now there's some concerns with his injured elbow, and he's already got a lack of physical tools. Whether or not he can maintain this job as the starting quarterback for the Niners, and whether or not he can get them over that Super Bowl hump that they've been trying to get with guys like Kaepernick, and what they try to do with getting Trey Lance. We likely won't know who the starter will be until after training camp. Last month, the Athletic actually posted something saying that Trey Lance was taking most of the first team job, most of the first team reps, as well as a lot of 49ers writers. They corroborated that. They said, yeah, Trey Lance is taking a lot of these first team reps in OTAs. Brock Purdy's taking a lot of the second team. I think I have an account. Okay. We likely won't know who the starter after here. Now, after Brock Purdy, Trey Lance actually quite likely number three quarterback, which is just insane. I mean, Sam Darnold, super impressive compared to what he was this last season, even though he was fairly solid for them. To be able to beat out someone who I even thought was pretty good, despite the stats now. If it was bet three for got the coming out of college, the 49ers are full favorites. They're a really talented guy with good Christian Daniel, who has power for the middle of it. Then you put Luke and Juwan Jennings. This is a very exciting, significant Trey Lance light time and run. Having 26 to trust that he's out there having so really I not really think that giving him so as Kittle. Yeah,